What is going on, everyone? Kevin here for Channel Mana League, bringing you another RTR block draft. Haven't done one of these in a little while. I was trying a different recording program, and I recorded a couple videos, and I was having trouble getting them to convert over very well. So back to the old program, which seemed to work pretty good most of the time. Here's some interesting cards. I don't think Amara's that interesting, but Flux Charger is pretty good. Blast of Genius, you'll hear people say one way or the other. I actually think Gruul War Chant's, I've had it be really good against me, but I've drafted it a few times and it ended up not ever really doing much for me. It was great against me when it was played, and it seems like it would be great in a deck full of red and green creatures, but maybe I just haven't been getting past lots of red and green creatures. So it's a tough call here between some of these cards. I think I want to stay away from Gatecrash guilds, because the common thinking is that you want to go in them and then you'll get all your cards in pack 2, but I think everyone does that, and everyone's fighting over Gatecrash guilds. So this could be completely wrong, but I think I'm going to try to do something different and stay out of Gatecrash guilds unless it's just wide open. Here, there's an uncommon gone. Could be anything. Lots of good uncommons in the set for sure. Zertod Druid's really good. If we had taken the Crawl Warrior or the War Chant, I would take that guy for sure. First Blade also pretty good. But here, could go with Melek. Regardless, could go with the Izzet Paragon here. But he's a 6 mana 2/4 and is not great unless you have lots of instants and sorceries, and if you do, he's pretty sick. But I don't know that we're going to have that, even though we want them for this guy. I think here I just want the Maca. Windrake's good. Most people underdraft blue, though, and if I'm going to, I can splash the Flux Charger if I need to. I'd rather be red, so I'm going to take the Maca. Alright, well, the third very good Gruul card right there. Yeah, so we'd have a Gruul War Chant, a Zertod Druid, and an Armed and Dangerous if we would have went Gruul. That's those are all good. Those are all good cards. Here, again, Armed and Dangerous. It's an interesting card, because usually when you think of a bomb, you think of a card that if your opponent doesn't do anything, it wins you the game by itself. Armed and Dangerous isn't that card. You have to have lots of creatures, you have to have your opponent tapped out or feel fairly safe into playing it, because they bounce your guy that has lure on him. You're not doing a whole lot, but it can just win you a game out of nowhere, and I definitely like it. But do I want to splash it in a red deck? I mean, I guess I only have Flux Charger. Maybe it's better than Punish the Enemy, enough better that it's worth taking here. Or do we want to just stick in red-blue? I actually think I'm going to take the Punish the Enemy. I find that in this format I end up lacking removal a lot. Alright, well, I guess Gruul would have been pretty good. Probably too late for that now. That's the other thing I found is, you try to read signals in the Dragon's Maze pack, and you say, oh, that's I mean, it's not that late. It's a 4th pick Moss Dog, but this set has like not that many great cards. So by like pick 5 or 6, if you're saying, Moss Dogs, although there's only pick 4, you feel like, okay, green's probably open. We've seen a lot of Gruul cards, so Gruul's probably open. But it's probably too late now, since that's going to be coming from the other direction. Guildgate's probably not good. I don't think I want to go 5 colors. A couple good black cards here, so Rakdos might be an option. So the choice is probably between, I think the Windrake's good enough. That's what I'm going to take here. Oh my god, a second War Chant? Alright, well, it seems like maybe picked the wrong colors. Again, I think it's too late to switch to Gruul. I could take this and plan on possibly splashing it, play red-blue splash screen. It would be a decent splashable card. We're not in any of these colors. I mean, I don't want to splash a Species Gorger, and there's not really any other colors. I'm not enamored with the Maze Rusher, so I'm going to take the War Chant. It's by far, I think, the best card in here. And we can splash it if we need to. Here, Weapon Surge is pretty good. Phantasm's also not bad if you're kind of mid-rangey. In fact, Phantasm might be the pick here because it will give us some ground blockers, and it'll slow up the offense of the opponent quite a bit, especially if we're trying to fly in with these guys. We're going to try to pick up some of the flyers and RTR block from the Azorius flyers probably. So I think maybe Phantasm is the pick here. Fatal Fume's pretty good. Guildgate, that's in colors we're not playing, not that amazing. Same with these kind of things. And I like Weapon Surge a lot, but I think I'd rather have the Defender here. Well, Possibility Storm's not amazing. Sin Collector's pretty good, although I don't think that's a strong signal of Orzhov being open because I haven't seen any other Orzhov cards really. There's been some black cards like Rakdos Drake and things like that. The -4/-2 guy spell, but I don't think that's enough. I mean, there's a couple decent black cards. Smelt Ward's not amazing, even when you can trigger it, which we probably can't. Phytoburst has been better than I thought it would be, because most of the time it just deals 5 damage, unless they get rid of your guy. But here I'm going to pick up the on-color Cluestone. I do like the Maze Glider a fair amount, but I mean, I like Give Take just for the give part, not really the take part. Oh, it's pretty good actually. If we're going to splash green anyway for the War Chant, maybe it's worth splashing for the Give, but I think Give's more of a good early game aggressive card. You play a 2-drop, you drop Give on it, and if they don't deal with it, you have a 5/5 or something that's just pounding in. I think that's a good card, but Maze Glider I think is pretty strong. Alright, here I could take a Mind Static, but not super ecstatic about that. I think the Simic Cluestone is fine. In fact, it will help me splash the War Chant if I want to play it, and I think it's better than anything else. Amara's fine, I mean it's 5/7, but not probably playing Selesnya. Nothing too exciting here. I think Clear Path is fine for a sideboard card. Again, nothing good here. I guess the Cluestone is probably the most playable card, so probably not getting into those colors. Alright, well I'm not going to play any of these cards, so I might as well just take the rare here. And I mean, these are fine, whatever. I'm not too worried about the Liev Decree, so I'll just take the Orzhov Cluestones, collect them all, and we'll move on to pack 2. See what happens. I want to point out, I have not done any Modern Masters drafting. I don't feel like I haven't gotten into that at all. I don't know what's great in that, and I don't feel like drafting it I'd be any help to anybody. I haven't even drafted it once for myself, so I will be doing some M14 though when it comes out, so stay tuned for that. Also, thank you to all the people who've been subscribing. My subscribers have been going up quite a bit, as have my views, and I appreciate that. Hopefully you're enjoying the videos. Haven't been winning a ton of them, but that could turn around anytime, and sometimes that's just how it goes. In this pack, a whole lot of nothing really. I mean, Illusionist Bracers I'm not going to play. I love Verdant Haven, but obviously that's not a splash card. Keymaster Rogue is fine. I think Warmind Infantry is what I want though. Some early drops and some beefy guys down, and that's what we're going to take. Alright, the rare was taken out of this pack. I mean, I could splash something like a Nimbus Swimmer, which is probably a fine splash card, really, because by the time you play it, you probably want to play it for at least 3 or 4 as X, so, it's probably like you really consider it more like a 6-drop, probably, so splashing it wouldn't be the end of the world. Other choices are Leyline Phantom, which is okay. Basilica Screecher is probably the card I would take if could take any color card and run it reasonably well. Death Cult Rogue is actually pretty decent. There are some ways, there are more rogues now in the format, but not a lot. It's still pretty hard to block this guy. So I'd say it's between that and the Nimbus Swimmer, and I think I'd rather take the 3-drop, even though it's going to be double blue, than splash the Nimbus Swimmer. There's pros and cons for both of those, but here, not a lot of red cards, and you know, when you pass a ton of Gruul cards like we did, it's understandable you're not going to see a lot of Gruul cards coming back. The guy behind us has, I mean, he could have had 2 of these, but he had so many good Gruul cards. There's no way Gruul cards are going to come back. So that's not unexpected. I think because of that, blue's kind of weak in this pack unless you get something sick. I think the Mind Eye Drake's fine. I actually think it's pretty good, so we're kind of a high curve at the moment. Those are a couple good Gruul cards right there. No good red cards. Not really any good blue cards either, so kind of whiffing. I think the Simic Charm splash, in case we splash green, is probably what we want to do. I think that's probably what we want to do. We're hoping, obviously, to get past some good red and blue stuff in the final pack. That's the hope. Otherwise, our draft may just go pretty bad. That's why everyone says to draft a can't speak. That is why everybody says to draft the Gate Crash guilds, because you get all the cards right now and you can start building your deck. Otherwise, you're just hoping in Return to Ravnica. But I think so many people are drafting all the Gate Crash guilds that it makes it impossible. Like if you were trying to play Orzhov, I mean, I guess white is fine, but it's really hard to try to fight everybody over the Gate Crash guilds. So I was thinking, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. So we're kind of testing that theory out. I don't want to say forcing an RTR guild, and especially like, is it? But I think it's okay. I mean, for Flux Charger to be really good, probably want to pick up some more instants and sorceries. I could play, some crappy ones to make it better. Here, I think Massive Raid and Hands of Binding are both pretty good, but I think the Flux Mage is the choice. I need more creatures, and it just kind of makes everyone better. So that's what I'm going to take. Wow, that's a very late Cloudfin Raptor. I'm very happy to pick that up here. So, yeah, pick 6 Cloudfin Raptor. Not really sure about that. Our deck isn't super aggressive, but I would have been fairly happy taking either of these cards. Not that they're amazing. I think Keymaster is pretty decent, but the Cloudfin Raptor is a welcome addition. Welcome to the team, sir. Welcome to the team. High fives all around. I think the Frilled Oculus is a 1/3 that I might be able to turn on with the green, is probably the pick here. I don't think I'm going to be... I mean, I guess I could splash a Mystic Genesis, but I don't think that's what I want to do. Incursion Specialist is the other choice. I mean, the question is, would you rather have a Frilled Oculus you can turn on sometimes, or an Incursion Specialist you can turn on sometimes? When he turns on, he's unblockable, but you have to cast 2 spells. I think in a vacuum, and I think in this deck with where we're at right now, I think the Frilled Oculus is just better. Wow. Alright, well, that's a Dust Mantle Kill Mage. We're not going to be able to play that, or the Death's Approach, but it looks like maybe black hasn't really been taken too much. A Way of the Thief we're not really going to be doing with no Guild Gates either, but the Mind Eye Drake's okay. We got some high-end cards. I don't really love any of these cards. It's kind of a question of which sideboard card do you want, and I think I like Scatter Arc better than the Furious Resistance. Not a big fan of Mark for Death, although to be 100% honest, I don't think I've ever played it. So maybe I'm not giving it its due credit, but I think it's just kind of a crappy card. I don't really want to take a ton of 5-drops, but that's what I'm doing, and I think Leyline Phantom is good enough that I need it over a Mark for Death anyway. It'll probably make the deck, but all these cards are unplayable, except for Dutiful Thrall. I guess Riot Gear we could play in a pinch. Not really a fan of either of those. And so we'll head on over to the old pack 3. I would say right now the deck's not looking amazing, but it looks like we're going to have one. We may play both Clue Stones to try to get into our higher picks. Let me see. Do we have any? We really don't have anything that turns on the Maze Glider, so at this point we're just playing it as a 3-5. But again, we're going into what should be our pack. And even though I like Steam Vents, I think I'm going to take Teleportal. I want to win. I want to win. There's actually a lot for us in this pack. Splatter Thug would be an awesome addition. Hopefully this Pursuit of Flight wheels. Even between the Pursuit of Flight and the Electromancer and the Dispel, one of those cards should wheel, or even the Stealer. Steam Vents, let's see. I don't think it's worth that much. 2's buying, so 2.5 for 3. I mean, that's, I guess, pretty standard for these lands these days. Buying 2.8, so it's probably worth about 3. But I think Teleportal is just so good. I mean, Teleportal is super legit, right? This pack's pretty good in general, actually. I think Trestle Troll's good, Stab Wound's very good, Dead Reveler's good, even the Risen Sanctuary is pretty good these days. So there's a ton in this pack. And the Steam Vents, so we're going to be passing just $3 to somebody, but whatevs, we're taking the Teleportal. That card's too good. If you're in Is It, you're hoping to get cards like Teleportal. Plus, if you play Teleportal, you can make your Flux Charger 6/1. Okay, so probably snapping up this Bloodfray Giant. The Doorkeeper would be fine. Also, hard not to like an Explosive Impact, but we're at 13 creatures. Our curve's already pretty high, and a big old beefy guy is never a bad thing to have. So I think that just about kind of sums up why we need that guy. We're light on 4-drops, and he's strong. If you get the Gruul War Chant out, your Bloodfray Giant is a beating. And he's a beating anyway. But, alright. We do have some options. And so far, I would say we are getting rewarded a bit in this pack. I mean, Dynacharge is fine. Mizium Skin would be fine. If they wheel, we would play those cards. But I would say the choice for us is between the Tower Drake, the Hoverberry, and the Nivix Guild Mage. He's not bad as a 2-drop. He's probably one of the least good Guild Mages, but you can cycle, I guess. You can copy instant or sorcery spells. I mean, for 4 mana, you can copy instant and sorcery spells. It's not going to do us a ton of good, I guess. So the question is, do you want the Nivix Guild Mage or one of these things? I think I'm going to take the Tower Drake, actually. We probably need to win by flyers. The Hoverberry would be pretty good, too, though. Let's see, what do we got? We got a thing to make something unblockable. I'm just going to take the Tower Drake here. I think the Nivix Guild Mage might wheel, because no one else is probably playing these colors, and if you're not playing blue-red, you're probably not trying to play a Nivix Guild Mage. Like I said, it's not the best one. If it's like the Selesnya Guild Mage, the Vitu-Ghazi, you might make a drastic change to try to play that card, but you're probably not doing that for the blue-red one. With all that said, not a ton in this pack. Again, Civic Saber's fine, but we have 2 guys that get turned on by the Civic Saber. So this pack's kind of a miss for us. Don't want to play a Bellows Lizard. Can take Cancel, I guess. Cancel would be fine. Might even main deck it. Ooh, an Abrupt Decay, that's pretty late. What's that worth? Probably not a ton. Buying 1.5, which of course means nothing. Buying 2, so it's probably worth 2.5. It's just a pretty sweet card. Is there anything we can play in this pack? Inspiration? Chemister's Trick. I mean, that works to turn on a Flux Charger, but I don't think I'm going to play a bad card just to turn on the Flux Charger. So it's between Inspiration and rare drafting the Abrupt Decay. And I don't think I like Inspiration that much, so I'm going to rare draft the Abrupt Decay. So this probably isn't much of a Traitorous Instinct type of deck. We're probably not that aggressive. We're probably trying to win on the flying/teleportal plan. So I think Traitorous Instinct's probably not in the running here. So it's between the Downsize and the Cobble Brute. But How are we looking on colors? Very blue, a little red, very little green. I think that's fine. We may not even play the green cards, although they're both pretty good, so might. So I think Cobble Brute here is probably a better choice. I don't need a Fire Mind's Foresight, I don't think. So, good Selesnya cards, good Azorius cards. Again, since people don't really draft the RTR block, you see Common Bond go, you know, pick 7. And this is a sweet card if you can run it. And you can even splash it, and it's still a pretty sweet card. So, a lot of these guilds are pretty underdrafted. I think I'm going to take the Viashino Racketeer, even though I don't like it. It's that or the Mizium skin, which is almost like an, you know, it's just like an anti-removal spell, basically. I guess it does work to turn on my Flux Charger. Oh, 16 creatures. I'm going to take the Racketeer. I don't love it, but I think Staticaster is actually pretty good in this format. There's a lot of 1 toughness guys, plus it changes it changes the math in combat a lot. I'm pretty happy to pick up the Staticaster. If it wasn't for that, Inaction Injunction would be my next choice. I already have 1 cancel, I don't need a second. This was the pack that we opened that had lots and lots of good goodies in it, and 3 of the cards I mentioned did wheel. Out of these 2, I think I'd rather just have the Electromancer 2-drop. It helps me cast some of my, like, Punish the Enemies. Stealer's fine, but I don't have any way to get him in really, except for Teleportal, and Dispel would be fine also, but... And the Doorkeeper's there, so we're kind of in... Oh, sweet, and Harbor Barrier came back. I wouldn't mind that Mizium skin either, but it looks like we might have a deck. Hooray! Oh, and Inspiration came back. Hooray! Yay for rare drafting. Yay for rare drafting. Picked up a couple tickets, got the 4 Inspiration anyway. Not that Inspiration's that amazing, but I try not to rare draft unless it's something worth a ton, but I didn't like Inspiration enough to pass the Abrupt Decay, especially since I passed Steam Vents. But that was for Teleportal. I think Teleportal's worth passing a few ticket rare for, since we trying to win. Alright, I'm going to build up my deck a little bit, come back and talk about what are my final few picks and what I'm kind of going between. And I think this deck actually ended up pretty okay, win or lose, so I'm fairly happy with it. The Teleportal, I think, is a pretty big addition. So we'll be back in just a sec. Alright, so this is where I have my deck at 21 right now, and the question is whether you want to play 2 Cluestones or 1 Cluestone and splash a War Chant and a Simic Charm. I think they're both pretty good, but especially because I have 19 creatures, but a lot of them are kind of defensive. But I think what I'd rather do is play the Inspiration and possibly the Cancel. The Maze Glider doesn't do a ton for us because we have the Staticaster flying doesn't really help a lot. The Electromancer flying is good, but he's the only one. Flux Charger already flies. I guess Death Cult Rogue, but he should be unblockable hopefully. Anyway, so he's just a 6-drop 3/5 flyer, which isn't terrible, which is actually why him and the Death Touch one are my favorite Maze guys, because they both are good by themselves. But right now we have a Teleportal and a Punish the Enemy. That's all we have to turn on a Flux Charger. I think I'm going to play the Inspiration and the Cancel rather than the Simic Charm and the War Chant, and just stick 2 colors. Like I said, I could play something like Clear a Path and possibly turn on a Flux Charger, but if we see Defenders, we'll add it in. I think Leyline Phantom is good too, but we're actually a bit more aggressive than I expected. It's kind of weird. I don't know how this deck's going to really turn out, because we have Cloudfin, which we're hoping to pump up, and we should be able to do with our Defenders pretty well. So we're on the play Cloudfin win plan, get some Death Cult guys. Basically what we're trying to do, and it's a little bit sneaky because my curve's so low, and I don't know if it's going to work out or not, is we're trying to win with flyers and unblockable guys, and keep our opponents at bay with cards like Hover Barrier, which just left my deck, but Hover Barrier and Staticaster and things like that. We're trying to win with our flyers, and if that doesn't work, we'll get a Bloodfray and a Cobble Brute out, and hopefully we'll Teleportal in for the win. So we have a plan. I don't know if it's a good one, but I think it's better than trying to splash for Simic Charm and Gruul War Chant. So Let's see what we're looking at here. Pretty blue. This is a double blue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 blue. That's a lot. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 red. That's not nearly as much. So 10-7 might be right. I mean, we definitely want to play a blues early. It wouldn't be bad to play an Electromancer on turn 2, but I think 10-7's probably right. I could go 9-8, but I want to play a Death Cult Rogue turn 3 if possible. I don't want to miss out on a Blood Fray, but 10-7 should be fine. So that's what we're going to do. We'll go to Game 1, and hopefully we can pull out some victories. See you then.